Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, Dream of Crafts. My name is Deanna and today we're going to be doing our number 8, so the month of August of our 12 months of Gingies. And sorry this is out late. I had planned another tutorial and unfortunately for some reason it taped about 2 seconds of it and I did the whole project and did not have an extra thing to do all the rest. So I'll show you what it was. It was actually this adorable clock. And so, yep, so none of it got taped. So I can, at the very end, if I have time, I'll walk through what I did to create this. It's very simple, but nonetheless, no tutorial for that, and I apologize. So let's go ahead and get started on our substitute tutorial. So I have these cocoa cups or coffee cups with topping on them, and these were from the Dollar Tree last year. I think they've had them I don't know if they'll have them this year, but they usually come back out with similar items. But if you don't have these wood pieces, you could use your Cricut to cut out multiple layers of cups of your choice. You could use a cup from a die. This one just happens to be a spellbinder, so you could use any size cup you want or any die cutting, and just cut out multiple layers and glue them together until you get a nice thickness. And you can also glue these wooden pieces together if you want a thicker piece too. I don't. They're just going to be used as ornaments on my tree this year, so I'm not worried about them being thin. So, but yeah, if you want to just cut them out in paper or cardstock or even chipboard and then just glue them together to get a nice thickness for an ornament, it's not going to make any difference. You can have the same results, okay? So what I've done is I've actually, we'll go ahead and start with the red ones. So I painted all my tops white on both different sets. We're going to do 2 different types. So I painted all my white on my top first. Then I go ahead and I do my base color for my cup. I then took and I stamped. So this is a stamp from, it's actually the stamp right here, and it's from My Sentiments Exactly. Now, I have had this for years, and I am not seeing the date on this, so I don't know if it's still available, but my biggest concern is that I did have it for years, and I have used it, and I went to clean my stamps. And especially on like this gingerbread one, this is words. So I will show you what it stamps like. So this is the stamp, okay? I don't know if you can see it. But you see how between his legs here, it's like missing letters? Well, when I went to start to clean it, I don't know if you can see that, but it actually started to, and I was just cleaning it with some gentle soap and water, and it started to just pull away the letters. So I'm not going to clean it anymore, and I'm just hoping it'll stick together. I'm just very careful with them. And then yesterday when I was stamping, I went, and they're extremely sticky right now. They weren't always like that. So I don't know if it's the material they used or what, but it doesn't matter. And I went to peel it off, and as you can see, his leg ripped right off. So I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to be very careful with it. And it's still stamped fine, as you can see. And we'll stamp one here in a second. But yeah, so I'm not, and I have a lot of their stamps too. And I haven't tried any of the other ones to see if they are having the same problem, but I will soon. But yeah, this is so sticky. Look at it, can hold my thumb. Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. That's crazy. I've never had stamps do that. But anyway, so My Sentiments Exactly. I'm not sure if they still have this item. It is Y559. And it's called Gingerbread Cookies. So, and it has some cute sayings. Like this one here. And I stamped this out. It says, stir a bowl of gingerbread, smooth and spicy brown. Roll it with a rolling pin and up and down. With the cookie cutter, make some little men. Put them in the oven till 10:30. So, and then this is just like mixed words here. It also says Merry Christmas. So, and then a tiny, tiny gingerbread. But see how sticky it is? Yep. So I'm not sure. So we'll set that aside. So that is My Sentiments Exactly stamp. Let's go ahead and just stamp this one here. Now I use just the Archival ink Distress. This is Tim Holtz Distress Archival ink brown to do this. It doesn't really matter. You can use any color because we're going to paint over top of it. And then of course I just press that. Now with the wood I let it sit just like I do with the paper. Let it sit for a bit and then pull it off. There we go. And I just need enough imprint to paint. So let's go ahead and set this aside, get this out of our way. And so then I took my little stamped item, and of course I'm using my Anita's Acrylic Chocolate Brown 11307. And let's get a little brush here. There we go. And then I just paint them. So take my brown, and then I just start painting. Now, I do give a couple coats because it does show through. So I would let this dry and then just give it a second coat. And I'm not going to paint this whole thing. I just wanted to show you that I paint it. And you don't have to paint it, but you could also use like a stencil to do your gingerbread, or hand draw it on, or maybe even use, if you have just like a gingerbread die, you could sit that on there, trace around it, and have the same result. You don't have to have a stamp. Sometimes we feel we're trapped when we see a tutorial. We think, oh, well, I don't have that. How, so kind of think out of the box. You can even probably make a template of one. And so even with a stencil, if you just want to trace it, you can go ahead and just trace it. So no different than with the, or if you have the die and it's easier for you to cut it out and then trace around it, that's fine. So there we go. I'm going to set him aside so he can continue to dry. And we're going to cover my paint because I will be the one to knock it over and make a mess in my craft room. All right, so we're at this stage here. And this is what the blank one looks like, of course. We're at this stage here. Now what I did was I took my, this is this one here, and it's a Peachy Keen stamp. It's PK1300 Sweet and Innocent Face Assortment. And I just have the little girl face with her mouth open, and same as this one on this side. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and stamp this. This is Stays on ink here, and it's just the black. So I'm just going to go and dab that, and this just happens to be perfect size for this little. I'm going to pull this towards me a second and hope my head don't get in the way. Perfect size. Sorry about this. Perfect size for this little gingerbread head, and they do have a variety of sizes, which is nice. All right, there we go. And so then the face is stamped. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and cover that. We'll be stamping again in a bit, so we're going to leave that. I'm going to set my little face aside. There we go. Like that. Put that away. All right, that one's done. So let's go ahead and set that aside. I might have, well, no, because I did use that for another thing. So let me keep that out here so I can show you again. All right. So after I did that, see now this one here is stamped on the back, but most of them I'm going to do the same on the front and the back. Okay. It's like this one is the little girl with a smile. This one is the little girl with the open mouth. So here we go. And as you can see, the little whitener glint in her eyes, I used my Jelly Roll pen, and this is a number 5 Let's see, where's my number 8? Oh, right here. Oh, no, that's 10. This is 8. And I just bought these. I had number 10 already. And I just bought this 3-pack at Hobby Lobby the other day, and it had a 5, a 8, and a 10 in it. So I just used my Jelly Roll pen. If I can get it to work, there we go. And put a little glint in her eyes. It's the easiest way to do it rather than a paintbrush. Gives it just a little tiny bit of life there. And if it's too much, you can always go back in. This ink pen here is just a Precise V5 RT Pilot pen. And if it's too much, you can just go back in and do a little black dot back in there. See? Because it's just so tiny. There we go. And if your lines too, if you don't have real distinct lines, you can go with this ink pen and just kind of trace and get your lines darker if you need to. All right. So we'll set that aside. All right, let's go ahead and decorate this girl. This one is a boy here. The boys don't have eyelashes, and so I did them in different directions. So this is going to have it on the same size. So for the girl, I just took my stickles, and because my cup is red, I thought I'd use green. And then I just go ahead and I create a little bow on top of her head. So almost like a little triangle going in, and then a little triangle coming out for her hair bow. So like that. And then for him, he gets a little bow tie. So it's going to be a little triangle coming in, and a little triangle coming back in until it looks like a bow. Oops, sorry. He's got a bow tie, and she's got a hair bow. So that's how I do that. We can go ahead and do these ones too. This is the girl. So, and we can put it on the other side. Doesn't have to be all on the same side. We can put it on the other side. Same thing, just 2 little triangles like that. And then we just have to be careful that we don't set our hands in it, because I have done that many, many, many times. Now for the little girl, this is just a glitter writer pink. I think this was like Michael's or something, maybe in their dot. Nope, it was Memories, but it's just a pink, basically a pink glitter. And so for her, I give her nice puffy cheeks. And I'll hold it up in just a second. See, nice puffy cheeks for her. Let's go ahead and do this one. You don't have to be that big, but just puff them up a little bit. There we go. Like that. For him, I just took the tip and just kind of rubbed it. I didn't really squeeze it. I just kind of rubbed it out a little bit. Like that. Because I just wanted a hint of color on his. I didn't want, let me see if I can, oh, no, that's not the one. I have one here with just a little bit of, yeah, here we go. So here's one with him where it's nice and flat. And here's one with her that's dried and how it's puffed up there a little bit. See the difference? There we go. All right. These are so simple. And they're going to be so cute on the tree. All right. So then I take my art glitter glue and I go ahead and add just a couple dots of art glitter glue. And we're going to put some buttons on there. Is there a little? So let's go ahead and get that. Now these are Buttons Galore and More, morebuttons.com, www.morebuttons.com. But to be honest with you, I ordered mine from Walmart because I got a set of them a lot cheaper than I could get them actually online. So I just ordered mine through Walmart. They have Halloween ones. They have all kinds of them. And I thought I'd go with this mix of red and green little candies instead of just red. Again, because there's so much red right there. And I just glue them on. And I try to pick two that are similar in size. So we're just going to do the same thing here. And they're just like they almost feel like rubber. I don't know if they're made out of a silicone or what, but they are really nice for these tiny projects. I love them. And I got these. So I used these on quite a few projects last year. And still have a lot. So you can also get some on AliExpress. The only thing is you have to wait for the shipping. You know, it takes sometimes about a month, but you got time. It's not Christmas yet. So you've got a little time. But I got mine at Walmart. These ones here are Chaos Crafts. And these got gingerbreads in them, little Santa faces, little tiny candy canes. And then here's more gingerbreads. These are sprinklets, embellishments. And then here's some more sprinklets embellishments. And these are that's what they're called, sprinklets embellishments. The one I was using was NK118 Marion Bright. This was NK119 St. Nick. And this one is NK117 Santa's Treats. So, all right. So I'm going to set these aside to dry. So those are the basics for those. So that's basically what I'm going to do with those. All right. So you can either stamp gingerbreads on both sides, or like the one, you can stamp a saying on the back side and then do the gingerbread on the front, or stamp both sides, whatever you want to do. So for our next one, again, we have our base one, and paint it white or whatever color you want your whip topping, and then whatever color you want your cup. I then took my cup and I sat it on a piece of scrap paper. We're going to create a template. And then I just drew all the way around it, like that, just all the way around. Okay. And then you can fill in your thing there. I don't need the handle. And then you're just going to cut it out. Okay. I'm not going to cut the whole thing out, but you just fussy cut it out, like so. Okay. And you end up with a cutout cup. Okay. So we're going to create our own face. We're going to do faces two different ways. We're going to do a template, and we're going to do another peachy keen stamp face. So what I do is I fold this in half. So I fold my cup in half, like so. Here, let me just get this out of the way. Whoop. Fold it in half. Guess I better cut it out, show you what I did. I'm not too worried about the whip topping because it just has to line up on the cup part. Okay. So I fold my cup in half, make sure it's lined up good, and it is there and there. And then I drew, as you can see, I drew a nose. So you can just draw however size nose you want. And you're just drawing half. And then I'm drawing half of a mouth. Okay. And then I'm going to draw my eye. So I'm just going to go up and down and then like that. Okay, so that's an eye. Now, when you hold this up to a light, so like I hold them up to my window, you can then flip it this way and you'll be able to see through the glass to do your other half. Or when you fold this in half, you can just sit there and you don't have to. You can just cut out the mouth like this. Boom. Cut out the nose. And if it's not what you like, then go ahead and just start over. It's just a piece of paper. So, and then for the eye, I just take an X-Acto blade and I just go through both. Okay. Just like so. And make sure I go through both pieces. Okay. And then pop it out. See? And then when I open it, I have my template. That easy. It is that easy. You can do any shape you like. So then what we're going to do, and this one could go this way, but on the cups I have, where are we at here? There we go. You can, so I'll show you one done. So this is the template one done, okay? These ones are the stamped ones. So this is a template, and then stamped on the back with cookies. This one says Christmas cookies and holiday hearts. That's the way the holiday starts. And that is also from that same sentiment, my sentiments exactly stamped. So let's go ahead. One of these I don't have anything stamped on the back. At least I didn't think I did. Did I stamp them all? Looks like I did. So that one's got that. This one's got Sweet Seasons Wishes. And this one's got Cuddle in a Cup. And those are from different stamp sets. All right. So then you would just take this, and you can see I've already got one started here with this template here. So I just put that on. And it doesn't matter that the whip topping is facing the other direction. You can just flip this over. See that? You can just flip it over and do that. I'm going to finish cutting out this template here. Let's just go ahead and use the scissors. And we're just going to go like that. So then I would put this on there, like so. Oops. And I've got the mouth traced already and the nose traced already, just to kind of save some time. And then I just go in and I trace this. And the reason you fold it in half is you get the exact mirror image. So when I pull this up, I have an exact mirror image. Okay, so then I'm going to take my number 10 jelly roll, and this makes perfect white. So let me go with my black first. No, let's go ahead with the white. And you can paint it with your regular paints, or you can paint it with a paint marker. And I have not found any white Sharpies. I looked all over. I thought for sure they would have a white Sharpie. No, no white Sharpies. So you would just fill that in. And of course, it's probably going to take a couple coats. Or you can take your white paint. Grab my white paint here a second. Because not everybody has the same things. So go ahead and grab your white paint and a brush. And you can do the same thing. You just go in and you just fill it in with the paint. Now, like I said, you can darken that. If you want to go on with the black first, you can do that. And then we're just going to fill that in and let it dry. So you have many, 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 many options. All right. Just like that. Don't like the shape, you can change it. Make it wider, make it narrower. Whatever, you can make circle eyes. Okay. And then this will have to dry before we do the next step. Okay. So then, and we're going to do the same thing with the stamped ones. So I'm not going to do these all full because it will take so long. So then for the nose, I kind of like some red. You could use pink. So then I just go in with my red and fill that in. And with the paint, when you're done, if you got pencil lines, you can just go in and erase them. It does not hurt the paint. So we just go in like so and paint it up. And since he has his little mouth open there, we'll just go ahead and paint that. Looks like he's singing. So like that, right? All right. Now how I got my little frosting on there. I got my gun heated up. Let's see if I can find them. It is Merchant 41 from Hobby Lobby. It's just the decorative trim. And it is item 463661, $1.99. So they usually run at 50% off, so you can get it for about $1. And so we'll go ahead, and I know there's a side here that doesn't have any on right here. Here we go. All right. So just take a hot glue gun, simple, and I just ran an edge just down from my frosting, just a real thin bead, because this is tiny. They do have one just a little bit wider, and but these are such small cups that I decided that the small one probably be best. And I just push that in there, bring in my sharp scissors and trim that off just like that. Boop. I should have finished on the other side. It would have been easier to get to. Yeah, that's good. If you finish on this open side, then it's a lot easier to get to. Same with the handle. Just went about in the center and then just ran a small bead and stopped. And then just put this in there and followed it around. It curves nicely, so it's not. And if you do have excess glue, it pops right off really easy. So we're going to go in here and snip that. And that's how I got the icing on there. All right. And then these did come with hangers. So you could run those in there and use their hangers. Go ahead and put that in there like that. So I just folded it in half. These have been sitting on my desk for a little bit, so they probably got roughed up. And then you can bring these through and do that like that, right? Be cute hanging on the tree. Or I also have these adorable hangers from last year, and I think might be able to get those in there, but I'm not sure. It looks like it's pretty tight there, so I'm not sure. Aren't those cute? I will use these for my tree this year. All right, so that is the stencil one, and I will just see the partial face there. So I'm going to do this one, only his mouth is good. I love that little crooked mouth, so I'm just going to do that one on this side. And then, like I said, those are stamped. That, and I'm going to set that aside. So then for the ones, this is the stamp. Let me see. This is another Peachy Keen, and it is PK 3000, Jill's favorite stamp set. And I used, which one did I use here? I used this one for this. And then this one here is also in that same set. And it's just like just like a little smiley face. And then that one's stamped with Love and Hot Cocoa. This one is stamped Christmas Cookies and Holiday Hearts. I think this is one we got to stamp yet. So let's go ahead and stamp that. Again, that is just stamped with Stays On ink. So simple. Simple, 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 simple. And I'm just going to goop that up. Make sure it's on, and then just hold it on there. Give it a good set. Let it suck in. These are very sticky. There we go. Perfect. All right. So that one is done. Let's get this out of the way. This one I colored in with the gel pen. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how I did that. So again, this is a number 10 gel. And we're just going to fill in. And that black makes it a lot easier to see than the pencil lines. So I'm just going to stay in there, and I just want the eyeball part to be white here. Okay. I'm going to let that dry a second, and we're going to go in here, and I'm going to make a little bit bigger dot here on there, and then 2 tiny dots on his little nose. Maybe give him a little glint on his tongue, like that, little glint. And let's see, maybe a little bit on his eyebrows there. You can use a smaller one. I found that the number 5 was just a bit tiny. So let me show you here. This does a very, very fine line, but it's so nice to have different sizes. So you can go in there, and you can see how thin that is. But that's all right. It's easier to control then. I'm just going to go in there like that. Just like that. Little there and there. The little whites add quite a bit. They just brighten everything up nicely. But I love my gel pens. I might try to find a black one. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So let's go back in with our number 10. And as you can see, I've got these little scrollies just like I did here. That's not part of the stamps. The Jill one, though, does have, if you can see on the paper here, she does have some swirls on there. And I did use those on his cheeks and then just highlighted in white a little bit. So, all right. So I'm going to go in here, and like I said, and it's not perfect by any means because it is hand drawn, but I like getting a little bit of swirl in there like that. And you can go over it again once it's dry. I'm just following my pencil mark, and I'll show you on the other one. And then he's got a little curl right in the center of his head here. Oops, there's my puppy. Just walked in. Lottie, go on, honey. And just a little curl there. Okay. And I'll probably go over it again once it's dry. But so that one is done. All right. So, and again, that's all I did was just going with my pencil and just make some swirls. All right. So we'll go ahead and do those. And they're not all the same because there's no, you could make a pattern for one, I guess. I don't know how good it would turn out, but Lottie, go on. Okay. So these are nothing, I mean, they're not perfect by any means. That's all right. And if you don't like it, you can quick wipe it off, or you can paint back over it and redo it. Because they're not exact, but I don't have a problem with that. All right. So let's go ahead and add his nose, his mouth, and then I'll do his eyes a second while that dries. So just a little tiny, he's just got a little button nose there. Enough paint on there. There we go. And if you don't have patience to let things dry, then you can go ahead and use the dryer. If you got one, even a hair dryer will work. Use this little mouth. Okay. So now, with this one, you can see that I added some blue. So we're going to use that same blue. This is just an old blue I have. It's cobalt blue. That's what it says. I've had this forever. You don't use a ton of it. I've got so many paints that I've had for years that I've got to go through my stock here and start getting rid of some stuff. So I'm just going to go in here and do around that there. So just a tiny brush here. And just go around. could use green, like I did in some of my other ornaments, the foam balls. Okay, so can you see the blue? There we go, just like that. Right? Okay. Let's go ahead and put some of the glint on some of these things. Let's go ahead and do, oops, gotta open it. There we go. Go ahead and do a little bit on the eyebrows. Right here in the smiley. A little dot on the tongue. Underneath there. A bigger dot on the nose with 2 tiny dots. There we go. And then I think if I get right in the black there, I want the bigger one. Let me see here. Number 8. Hopefully if I get right in the black there, I cannot mess with my blue paint. And I can get my white glue. And I did it. Yep. So as you can see, I didn't mess with my blue paint because that's still kind of wet. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit under each of the cheeks. You can also add an extra crease in the eye there, like that. This stamp has it. You can see it has the crease, the double crease. There you go. Yeah. So that is pretty much it. Yes. So you've got the stamp ones. You've got your own stencil one. And you've got the gingerbread ones here. Just like that. All right. So that's it. Those are going to hang on my tree. So let's see what we got here for time. Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. So let me walk through what I did on the clock. I don't have everything set up, so just let me set this down. I'm just going to slide it aside out of my way. Sorry about that. And we will walk through the clock. So at least you'll know what I used and how I did it. All right, here we go. So this is the clock. This is a 12 by 12 clock base. Oh, not a clock base. I shouldn't say clock base. It is a 12 by 12. It came from, it was like a set of drawers, and they were all kind of linked together, and they kind of swiveled out from each other. And my cousin was going to throw them away, and I said, you know, I might be able to use those boxes for something. So I've used a couple of them with other things, but it was basically just a 12 by 12 box. You could use a 12 by 12 frame. You could use, hang on a second. Does she have to go out? Bella's got to go out, Mom. Sorry about that. Sorry. My mini dog is also a puppy. I've got 2 puppies right now, and they're 3 weeks apart, and they're about 7 months old. So it's a German Shepherd, so a very large dog, and then the mini dog. So anyway, so you could use like a 12 by 12 shadow box. You could use a 12 by 12 canvas and use, just use that. The only thing is this is nice and hard for the clock face. So the canvas, I don't know how you would stiffen that up to hold the clock piece. This was a clock face from, I believe I ordered it on Amazon, but you can buy them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, any one of those stores. So I painted my base red, and then I used just the candy stripe, and it's 1.5 inch ribbon, and I put that, I just hot glued that around the edge. I then took the wider ribbon from Hobby Lobby. Same price, but it's just a little bit wider. And I put that all along the edge there on top of that to have like the candy thing. These little gingerbreads were that die that I just showed you that you could probably use as a template. No, I don't know where I sat it. I just had it. Anyway, that's the one I told you you could probably use a template. So what I did was I used that. That's crazy. I don't know where it went. It's here on the table. But I will show you how I created, and I will use the other die. Let me see, this is here somewhere. So I got to bring in my machine. So this here is just the foam core board, and this just happens to be Dollar Tree foam core board. So I'm just going to cut a piece here that I think is big enough. Okay. And I cut one part like that, and then I snap it. Whoops, I didn't cut through. I snap it like that, and then cut it from the back, and that usually saves the paper. Okay. All right. Then I'm bringing my machine here, and I'll grab this other die. It's bigger. Here we go. Let's put this right here. Hopefully you can see. All right. I'm going to place my gingerbread right on top of that foam core. And then I'm going to put it on my cutting plate and top it with my other plate. And I'm going to run this through. Now, it runs through very easily. I am not rolling hard. And you can hear it's not cracking or anything. All right. Well, a little bit maybe. All right. So let's set that there. Let's back out of the way. And what that does is it presses that foam core down, but it's still thick enough. See? Look at that. Can you see that? Nice and thick. So it's about less than half as thick as it was, but it's nice and stiff. So then what I did was I cut out of craft cardstock all the same gingerbread. So I cut that out and I glue those on top. Okay. Just glue them right on top of that foam core. Those are my gingerbreads that's on here. So they kind of stand up. They got a 3D effect. And I just cut out some little tiny bows to fit the size of my gingerbreads on my Cricut. And I just did their faces the same. I used my jelly roll markers to create the icing on the hands and the feet. And of course the buttons are just red and green stickles. Same stickles I just used. And what else? This is just a candy paper from the Michael's cardstock pack from last, Recollections pack from last year. And I don't know if it has, but yeah, this was just a variety, and I thought the candy one was perfect for that. I cut that at 11 3/4, no, yeah, 12 by 12. 11 3/4 by 11 3/4, and then I roughed up the edges. I used Tim Holtz Distress ink around the edge there, and also around my gingerbread there. And I could do the same thing on these cups here. Let me grab one of the brown cups that I just did. Maybe. Oh, here we go. And I'll show you that you can just dress those too. See how it just kind of darkens the edge a little bit? I did the same thing with those. It just kind of antiques it, gives it some depth. So I'll probably do all the brown ones. I'll probably do that to all of them. when I'm done. Okay. So then what else did I do to them? Those were hot glued on. I used a circle template to set my gingerbreads out. So this is 11.5-inch circle. So this must have been a little bit bigger. No, this was 11 3/4. 12 by 12, 11 3/4 paper, and then 11.5-inch circle. And then I folded it in half, and then folded that in half again. So then I had my 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock points. I put that on there and drew around my circle, and then made little marks for each one of my main hour points. So your noon, your 3, your 6, and your 9 o'clock. I glued those down first and then eyeballed and put the top of the heads on that circle. And I don't know if you can see. I think I can get you to see. There is still, I didn't erase my pencil line because I wanted to show you. There is a pencil circle line that goes all the way around, and I just kind of eyeballed the rest of them. And yeah, that was it. But I was so excited to get this clock done, and I was so sad that it really only taped about 2 seconds of it. And my husband's like, can't you redo it? I said, well, I only have one box. And if I tear off all these gingerbreads, because I can recreate those, but if I tear them all off, it's going to destroy my paper. And what paper I can't get off is going to leave bumps. And so when I put paper back on, it's going to be bumpy. So I said, really? No. And I only had the one clock face left because I had two. I purchased two, but the first one, when I was trying to sample put it together, and I pulled this pin out, and the whole pin came out, and I couldn't get back in right. So I only had one clock face, and I only had one box. So yeah, but this is my cute little gingerbread. I hope you like it, and go ahead and give that a try too. Like I said, even if you only do the foam gingerbreads. And with these, I just painted. So after I cut out my foam gingerbread, I painted all around the edges. And if it got on the face and the back, I didn't care because the back is going to be glued down. No one's going to see it. And then, so on the face, then it covers the edge. So no one sees that edge on there. Okay. Right. Like I said, you just go around like that. Once your paper's on there, gives it a nice inked edge. All right, so let's get back our little other ones that we did today. We have some cuties here, right? So I hope you give this a try. And like I said, you don't have to have the these cups, these little wooden cups from Dollar Tree. It's just I had them, so I figured I wanted to use them up and just create some cute little gingies. Whether you do the stamped or use a template or whatever you use. And I just love Peachy Keen stamps. They've got the cutest faces, and it makes it so easy. But I know everybody doesn't have stamps or have access to them. So if you don't and you want to still do it, you can create your own template. And by all means, if you have any questions, just go ahead and put a message down in the video, and I will get back to you. I will be willing to help you out as much as I can. So thank you for joining me for month number 8, so August. And my next one will be out on time. All right, girls and boys. Thank you so much for dropping in. And if you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down in the right-hand corner. And a thumbs up is always appreciated because it draws attention to my little tiny channel. And comments are always appreciated because that's another way that my channel can spread, because it'll get more hits then. I do not get compensated at this time. So if there's a commercial, I don't get compensated. I don't have enough followers in a certain amount of time to get compensated. So, but maybe someday. But it's usually not very much anyway. When you do it, it's pennies on the pennies for your minutes, I guess, right? And I wish you all the best of days. Blessings to you and your family. And I pray for you all. I love you all. Thanks for dropping by, and come back soon. Bye-bye.